everyone. Thanks so much for clicking on WDTV.com. It's Tuesday, April 16th. I'm Christine Keeling. Here are some of your top stories from the 5 newsroom. Well, the world is still searching for answers tonight after 2 explosions rocked Boston yesterday afternoon. 3 people have been killed, including an 8-year-old boy, and more than 170 people were hurt. Now, new details have emerged just overnight as far as what was actually inside those bombs. According to the Associated Press, nails, BBs, and shards of metal were ejected from those 2 bombs. A person familiar with the investigation told media outlets the bombs were found in pressure cookers and hidden in black duffel bags. Now, last night, President Barack Obama never actually used the word terror in his televised address, but today, Obama said the bombings were an act of terrorism. But investigators still aren't sure whether it was carried out by an international or domestic organization.
Any responsible individuals, any responsible groups will feel the full weight of justice.
Again, among those killed, 8-year-old Martin Richard, his mother and little sister also suffered serious injuries. Well, as the details continue to trickle in, we're hearing more stories of what it was like to be in Boston when those bombs went off. According to records, more than 40 people from West Virginia were in the marathon, and one of them is Angela Campbell. She's a professor who finished the race about an hour before the bombs went off. She's a professor at WVU. Running in the marathon is nothing new for Campbell. Now, yesterday was the 4th time she ran in that race. When everything started to happen, she was actually in her hotel room, which was about a mile from the finish line, recovering from the race. She said when all of the chaos started to happen, she didn't even know anything was going wrong, and when she found out, she was starting to get calls and texts from family and friends. Campbell said yesterday's events were traumatic, but they put everything in perspective for her. She said since everything has happened, she's taken the time to reconnect with her family and friends.
Yeah, that's really been my focus, like touching base with everybody and knowing that I have great friends and family that love me.
She also said despite how horrific everything was yesterday, she still plans on running in the marathon again. And after any tragedy like the one in Boston, police all over the country take a look at their emergency plans for any other big events like marathons, fairs, or festivals. Officers said they start getting ready for any big gatherings months in advance to make sure they have enough manpower to keep everyone safe. They plan on bringing in extra officers for the events, but once the event is going on, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Officers have to make sure they're ready for anything, and they have to keep an eye out for any suspicious behavior by anyone at those gatherings. And after the Boston Marathon tragedy, officers said they'll have to be more cautious than ever.
We increase security around, make our presence known, things like that, proactive measures, cut down on criminal activity. Pretty much it, keep our eyes out for suspicious people, things like that.
Officers said even though the tragedy happened, people shouldn't be worried to go into large gatherings. Well, last week on 5 News, we told you there was an explosion in Tyler County that sent 3 people to the hospital. Well, today we found out another man has died. According to the press release from the Tyler County Sheriff's Office, 43-year-old Raymond Miller from Pennsylvania died last night at the West Penn Burn Center in Pittsburgh. He was injured in that explosion that happened on Thursday at the Twin Hickories compression station. Yesterday, we also reported 56-year-old Bruce Phipps also died as a result of those injuries. No word yet on the 3rd worker. Earlier this morning, a Harrison County woman had to be flown to the hospital after crashing her car into a tree. Deputies told 5 News around 6 o'clock this morning 33-year-old Mindy Snodgrass was driving from the Owings area towards Shinston when she veered off the road and hit a tree. Snodgrass was trapped in her car, and it took crews less than a half hour to cut her out. She's in Ruby Memorial Hospital and in critical condition. A woman is behind bars after allegedly stealing a car in Harrison County. Gene Bayer is accused of stealing a car on Hull Street in Clarksburg. The victim said Bayer pushed him and held him down in a chair and forcefully removed his keys from his pocket, then drove away. That's what's making headlines today. Make sure you tune in tonight for Fox 10 at 10 and 5 News at 11 for all your latest updates. We'll see you then.